G'day friends, welcome back to New Game Plus TV on tour. It is the end of 2025 and I find that this time of year is good for, a little bit of self-reflection, but we probably won't get into that in, this conversation or maybe other conversations on New Game Plus TV on tour, but reflection on the year itself, the year of video games. Now, later on in the episode, we'll hear from Adrian, a face that you might have seen on New Game Plus over the years here and there. We'll also sit down with Jason, the co-host of News Game Plus podcast, also allegedly the executive producer of New Game Plus TV. He is. We sort that out later. But right now, my name is Jack. I'm here with Jamie Galea. Hello.
Hello. How you doing?
I'm doing great. I have one game of the year in particular that I think I'm going to speak to a little bit later on in the episode. But you've been known to play a few video games each year, I would say.
Yeah. It's the one year I think I've realized that, I'm playing a lot of games. I'm like, I don't know. I can't find one thing this year that I really singularly love. Like, I played a bunch of Blueprints. Wasn't for me. I played Silksong. Glad it's out. Not for me. I played Expedition 33. And I'm like, this is cool. Not for me.
Yeah, right.
So
what was?
Well, there's this game I found called Road to Empress, which is this, maybe not the best game of the year, but maybe the most fun I've had with a game all year, where basically it is a Chinese FMV game where you are playing as a young lady who becomes a lower lady in the Imperial Court. And it's documenting her rise to power. It is based on history, and it is a lot of fun because the whole game is just watching, watching these cutscenes, making choices, make the right choice, story continues, making the wrong choice, your character gets got. And she gets got by poison, by stabbing, by being choked out by her brothers. It's a wild time, but it's like actually really compelling and weirdly like I'm playing this for all these hours. I'm like, do I actually just like C-dramas now? Do I like Asian drama? Do I need to go watch more K-drama on Netflix? Like, what is this? Have I discovered something inside myself in this FMV game that like a few people were talking about, and now it's like, I think I like this kind of stuff. So.
Is the death videos, I guess, like as intense as do you recall when Tomb Raider reboot came out? I think in like 2012, 13ish, and everyone was like, Lara Croft gets the shit beaten out of her. Is it like that level of intensity?
No. It's very, very goofy, very, very silly. Like it is absurd. Like it's one of those games where like I think it knows what it is, and like we know how ridiculous this all is. We just kind of go into it. Like the writing matches that, the acting matches that. It's like. It works, and it's also got a budget behind it. It actually looks really, really nice, which, I don't know, I played a lot of FMV games growing up, and it's like, they're cool, but they're trying something, but it's also very cheap, if that makes any sense.
Cheap? How?
Very kind of like, the budget isn't quite there to do what they want to do, and it's just like, you can really tell. But this is like, okay, technology and sets have come a long way in 30 years, so it works. It all really works, and you can play it on your phone if you really, really want to. So it's like, I can't complain about that.
Incredible. What was the name of the game and where can people get it?
Road to Empress. It's available on Steam, Steam, obviously, PC. Steam, iOS, and Android. There's a sequel coming sometime soon. I'm looking forward to checking that out.
Fee Bravo, you have been known to stand next to me on camera from time to time.
I've never looked so...
At home, you may well recall that B is not usually quite this tall.
I've been crouching down for your sake, and this is the truth. This is how tall I am, so...
Now, we could discuss, I guess, what's been happening in the video game industry, what's been happening in the news, but do you want to do that?
I think everybody knows, and I think, like, it's depressing. It's just that, like, it's like there's no hope right now. Like, there's hope. Well, there's hope in, like, these little things, but we all have to wait until it comes to fruition. We don't have hope in the big stuff because they've got money and they're using it badly. They're using it for shareholders.
This is what big gaming doesn't want you to know. That's coming up later. Let's talk about the games industry and late-stage capitalism. Not now, later. But you've played a few video games this year. Before we get to maybe your favorite of the year, give us a little, a few tidbits of what else you've been playing or what you've tried out.
Oh gosh, I've gone through like my friend's Steam library. So I've done a bit of 1000 Times Resist, which is an older game, but it's really good, especially on like the perspective part of what is it? Not heritage, but just like moving from one place to another, especially being like a first-time immigrant and stuff like that. And it's beautiful, blah, blah, blah. Otherwise, there's the big one. Yep. There's Claire Obscura that everybody is talking about.
The not Japanese RPG from the French?
Yeah, it's a turn-based RPG from the French/English. You got Charlie Cox, you got Jennifer English, you got Ben Starr. So there's a lot of like talent behind it, and it is technically an indie game, even though it's 30 hours, 30 plus.
We like to tease on this show with a question like, what is an indie game? What is a AAA game? And I feel like this is another example of like, why are these distinctions even that meaningful anymore? But yeah, I don't know.
I think it's one of those like, look at what this small studio has done without a big budget. The same thing with like Larian and stuff, where yes, they have a pedigree of really great games, but that's because they're able to thrive without beholdening their shareholders.
They still have some shareholders, but it's a bit of a different
But it's a
equation.
different vibe to like EA or like Blizzard or whatever. So anyway, so it's just that like success story, which is like good, bad. But it's fun. I am not much of a JRPG person. I do like the parry system because it gives you a little bit more agency. I did have to put it into story mode because I am rubbish with the timings. But it's been fun.
But what is your favorite game, I guess, or one of the most memorable experiences you've had in 2025 gaming?
Why aren't we talking about Blueprints? What happened? That took over my life for a month and you famously don't like escape rooms.
Not really. I'm not a big fan. When everyone's like, "Oh, should we do an escape room?" I'm like, "I'd rather go and play darts or something." I don't know.
Well, it's more, but like it's that thing of like, it's a video game, but it's real life. Like that, like puzzle element of solving something and like learning more and more. So I love that Blueprints, in the weirdest way possible, is a roguelike house building simulator. Not even a simulator, but like a haunted house, like trying to figure things out. And it's not scary. It's not thrilling. It's just, if I put this room next to this room and that changed, and like what if I did this, and like having a notebook that you fill everything out
like in real life,
like because you have to keep it all in your brain. Like even if you have screenshots, you still have to like figure out why you made those screenshots together. So it's bigger than Lorelei. It's more not convoluted. It's different than Lorelei and the Laser Eyes, which was also a very good game. But just the amount of thought I put into it, and like the pride I had in solving the problems myself, looking up a couple of them, but like just being able to be like, oh, this room, and I found this room, because you can find blueprints for more rooms in the house and stuff. And did I finish it? Absolutely no, absolutely not. But did I have a great month and a half of like thinking, of letting it ruminate over and over in my head? Absolutely.
Incredible. What is the name of the game, and where can people get it?
Blueprints. Steam, other places, I'm pretty sure. I like it. I kind of want to go play it again now. I want to remember what I forgot. And yeah.
Respect if you're playing Blueprints while watching this. Mad respect.
Can I do that? I mean, I guess.
People can multitask. What are you talking about? Multi-monitor setup? Come on.
Like I don't have ADHD, and I've got my phone with my Steam Deck with my TV going, watching Reddit stories.
Let's talk about a 5-screen experience with Blueprints.
Do it.
Em, you've been known to enjoy a video game from time to time yourself. I think you don't tend to play that many new games, I guess. But like, I guess, what have you been playing this year that's kind of tickled your fancy a little bit?
I've been playing, like, I'm no stranger to like a little bit of nostalgia. So I've been diving back into the DS a little bit.
Yeah,
a little bit of DS Band Hero, which I'm actually getting like tangibly better at.
And like, you got the controller for it that you put in the Game Boy Advance slot?
Yeah. The little guitar attachment. But I've been doing the drum one.
Yep.
It's like keeping my brain out. I've been doing a bit of like brain age training, because my Spotify listening age was 41 and my brain age is 37. So we got a little bit to go, a little bit to work on.
Like the brain training thing where it's like, you're ancient.
Yeah, totally. It's a very direct read, but in a cute little way. Like it's pink, it's fun.
I think one of your big, I guess, moments from this year is that you went back and played, I believe, a Bratz game on PS2.
I did. I played Bratz Rock Angels on PS2. Yep. The PC version was like one of my absolute favorite games, next to like SpongeBob Employee of the Month, THQ. I still watch the long plays to go to bed. Yeah, they're just very comforting to me. So like the PC version was like my favorite, but the PS2 version is very much giving it a run for its money.
Why?
It's like the world building is genuinely very good. I think like Bratz games traditionally are very about like fetch quests, and that can feel a bit tiresome after a while, but this feels a little more open, where you can like explore in between all the little fetch quests and stuff. Also like the outfits absolutely slap. The soundtrack, no one's talking about Ali and AJ in 2025, and my god, they need to be. Yeah, so like they had a couple songs on the soundtrack, and like that album is still one of the greatest of all time. So like, yeah, the game slapped. I loved it.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Now, I believe I would be hard pressed, I imagine, to find you could call them a gamer that hasn't played Journey and then hasn't also gone on to really, really like it. Like an almost spiritual experience that stays with people. Now, the people that made Journey, not all of them, but many of them, then went on to make another game. They've made a few games, but we're going to talk about only a few of them here. They went on to make Abzu. Now, you've played a little bit of Abzu.
I did.
And it's kind of like Journey, but if it was underwater. And I'm kind of curious if there are moments where you're like, oh, they took that moment from Journey. This was inspired by Journey. Was there, I guess, much of a, oh, they're kind of just making Journey with a different skin? That's a really hard read.
Yeah.
But like, are there moments where it's like, okay, they knew that they got it right the first time and they're kind of doing it again?
I think, yeah, you said it, but like I haven't played Journey in a while, so like it's hard for me to remember like direct comparisons, but I guess in terms of like the exploration of it, like the openness of it, I can see a lot of similarities. But Abzu was a really fun time. I got to ride a whale.
Yeah.
I think that was a moment where like I realized I could ride the whale, because I was like trying to get to the next thing, and then I like stopped to ride the whale, and I was like, oh, this is the point.
Yeah.
Like you got to stop and you got to like feel the moment.
You got to take it in.
You got to take it in.
And so
Yeah.
what's interesting is that many of the team that worked on Abzu then went on to work on a game that came out this year that is probably my favorite game of the year, Sword of the Sea.
Oh.
Now, I will say, if you're playing it on PC and you have a Steam Deck and you're like, oh, it's not Steam Deck verified, screw you, I'll run it on Steam Deck, don't. It's such a bad experience. I was in Japan, it was the only computer that I had, it was the only like gaming device that I had, and I was like, I can make this thing run. Like PlayStation Vita level resolution, 20 frames a second, bad. But
Lesson learned.
then I got a better PC. I finally upgraded my PC from like 5 or 10 years ago. And it is beautiful. It kind of marries the like, I'm in a desert, I'm kind of exploring, you know, this world that feels a little bit empty, but like peaceful and still alive somehow, with the underwater aspects of things. So parts of the game, you'll end up exploring areas that look very much inspired by Journey, but then you'll activate sort of the sea. You'll activate sort of certain switches and, you know, navigate parts of the world that then turn part of the world into more like Abzu.
Yeah.
And so you have like fish and whales and like all of these creatures just kind of floating around in this like underwater, not underwater kind of space. And it's beautiful.
I very much feel like I'm rotating a cube in my mind.
They're very different kinds of visual energies to have in the same kind of space, but they do it really, really well. That said, it's not just Journey 2.0, but there are definitely parts of it that are like, okay, you got it right the first time, and you're kind of like, here's a little preview from our like, or, you know, a revisit of our greatest hits. And so I think having played Journey kind of more recently, to your point earlier, it felt at moments a little, not cheap, but like, oh, I remember the impact this moment had when I played it in Journey. And I think because I played it more recently, it didn't quite have the impact that I had the first time that I played Journey, which is fine. It is what it is. But then there are other parts of it. You know, the other character that comes into the mix, the kind of dance and relationship and, you know, how it tells its story is really, really beautiful. And as I said earlier, visually incredible, rotating a 4D cube in my brain. The music, incredible. I wouldn't be surprised if it's composed again by Austin Wintory, but I'm not totally sure, don't quote me. But yeah, I think after playing Journey and now having played Sword of the Sea, and it absolutely is my game of the year for 2025, I think I might actually go back and revisit Abzu.
Stunning. I'll have to add all of them to my list.
It's a very long list, but you can add all of these games to the list. I'm pretty sure Abzu, Journey, and Sword of the Sea are all on Steam, and they are all, I believe, also on current-gen consoles. So go and check them out if you want to kind of have a spiritual experience.
Yeah.
Are you having a spiritual experience right now?
I'm so out of it.
How's it going? Adrian here, currently recording from beautiful and cold Stockholm, Sweden, the home of Minecraft and Mojang, which feels fitting. You might be wondering why I'm recording this at night. I'm actually not. It's 4:30 p.m. That's just how Scandinavian winters go. It felt like a really good game, a really good year for games, I should say. You know, the Switch 2 came out this year, and that dovetails nicely into the fact that Donkey Kong Bonanza was definitely my game of the year. The studio behind that game can't do wrong. You know, developers of Mario Odyssey, and many other great games over the years with Nintendo, and the breakable mechanics and the sense of adventure with that game, I think, are really unmatched. I think it proves that that developer isn't afraid to come up with new mechanics and new ideas that can carry a game through, no matter which character is part of it. You know, the game concept was created before Donkey Kong was even attached to it. So I think what the developer did with that game was absolutely fantastic, and yeah, you can really see the quality and the love and polish that went into it, and I think it was a real standout, almost launch game for the Switch 2. It did come about a month later, but I think it was worth waiting for once Mario Kart World tided us over. In terms of the industry in general, I think my thoughts this year were that it was a year where we were waiting for some new hardware. Obviously the Switch, you know, launched in 2017. It was getting to the point where we needed an upgrade. And I think now that that's out the gates, we're starting to see, you know, a lot more rumors and speculation about what Sony and Microsoft are going to do with their next consoles. And it sounds like there is some interesting stuff in the works there, whether it be, you know, the rumored Xbox PC console Xbox, or whatever PlayStation ends up doing. I think it's going to be an interesting space to watch. And, you know, looking forward to going back inside, getting back home to Australia, and playing some games. I definitely see why gaming is so big here in Scandinavia. You know, you just want to go inside. It's very cold, and I think it's going to be the opposite for me when I go back. And it's hot, humid, and Brisbane weather. But looking forward to it, and yeah, looking forward to see what's coming out next year as well.
G'day friends, welcome back to New Game Plus TV. Maybe on tour, not quite on tour. We're not at an event necessarily, but
no, but we are discussing events.
We're some events, some games even, yes. on a video game show.
Surprising.
Hell of a concept. I think it's, you know, an opportunity at the end of 2025 to reflect on the year that was.
Yes.
And so I'm joined, my name is Jack, I'm joined by News Game Plus co-presenter, Jason O'Callaghan.
I've been demoted, have I, in my own organisation?
Well, I mean, you don't look at the TV episodes before I submit them to C31 anymore.
Yeah, that's a modicum of trust.
It's not all about trust. This is New Game Plus executive producer Jason O'Callaghan. But I figured I'd bring Jason on to speak a little bit briefly before he buggers off to South Africa, I believe.
South Africa for that one. It's going to be an interesting one.
Around the time when the rest of the New Game Plus TV on tour team talk about kind of their Game of the Year picks. I was like, cool, you're in town, let's do this, which is why maybe it's at nighttime when the rest of these shots might be during the day.
Yeah.
You have played games this year, but you also have spoken about gaming industry and community event, news, basically, through all of this year.
Yeah, so obviously we do, you mentioned News Game Plus, so we do that.
It's a podcast.
It's a podcast. We do that. I've done that with Dermy. We usually do it weekly, unless we're out of town, and unless I'm out of town, let's be real. So we still managed to do, I think, 25, 30 this year, so it's not bad.
It's better than some years of New Game Plus TV. Not many.
Usually that was half the issue, right? Just ask any of my exes.
Yep.
But no, so the thing with it is that the format we choose is basically, it's a loose news show. Obviously, we do a bit of bolshy news because both myself and Dermy, I mean, I'm definitely the bolshy, but
the joke of we don't talk about politics on this show has like so thoroughly jumped the shark or whatever it's called, where it's like
jump the shark.
Will spend like 20 minutes of every single episode, at least 20 minutes, just talking about politics.
Well, I think more than
gaming.
This is the South Park joke, right? South Park isn't funny anymore, and it's like, yeah, because we have to talk about politics. Like, we can't not. It's become so ingrained. Like, there used to be other things to talk about, but there's not anymore, right? Everything becomes political because they've made it that way. And this is, we don't talk politics on New Game Plus, but
we have to talk about
that's a very specific mechanism by which, especially the US, has done it. It is that everything's a part of the culture war. Nothing escapes. And so it has been funny to see who's bent the knee. Like, you knew Microsoft was stuff the second you saw those Halo adverts from the Department of Home Affairs, or one of them.
Yeah.
And they were like, "Oh yeah, we'll stop the flood, we'll finish the fight," or something like that. As like, Microsoft, you might want to put out a statement on this and say, maybe don't do that with our IP. Silence. And so it's like, Well, that's Microsoft definitely getting into bed, and they all know, because they all know that's where their bread's buttered. They're technically American companies. The big six companies are sending each other the same amount of money: Nvidia, OpenAI, Microsoft, Apple. Apple to a lesser extent, but still Apple. Intel. They're all sending money back and forth in this big kind of Ponzi scheme. They're waiting for the buyout. They're not going to get the buyout under the Dems. They will get. Well, they probably will. They know that the economy will recover. They say that they did it to the car industry, but I guess the car industry at least pivoted into something like charging you subscriptions for seats. And so it's not that there's any particularly new news. It's just that we really are rocketing down the road towards the enshittification of everything.
Late stage capitalism across the games industry very much feels like the vibe of this year, and I think I know that it's not like the biggest news of the year, but I feel like Microsoft finishing its acquisition of Blizzard, Activision,
that was
Microsoft.
That was the turning point. I would say that is the
But then like that, for whatever reason, didn't feel like it. We were like, oh yeah, like mergers and acquisitions are terrible, but that didn't feel like a signpost of enshittification.
I think,
then the moment it was like, oh, we're gonna jack up Xbox Game Pass to be like
well
and truly out of reach of like what we would consider maybe reasonable for most folk now. And like, it's still technically a good deal because of how many games you get day one with that most expensive one compared to buying games physically. So the problem is who gets caught in the crossfire.
It goes from 2.5 games a year to 4 games a year. So if you're not playing 4 brand new games or at least equivalent per year, the value and then you don't get to keep it anyway. So like, but what will usually happen is when the game goes off Game Pass, they'll put on sale, you buy the DLC cheap, all that kind of stuff. But if anything, it's a reflection of them not being happy with Phil and how Activision went. Satya wants his money now, so he's putting Bond in. And again, I could just be talking shit, so just ignore me if needs be. But
Konnichiwa, Mini-san.
Mini-san,
Exubuxi no Sarades.
So
I've been sent that reel so many times.
I'm meta in Hamburg. That's a whole other thing. But no, so I think that is very much paying the piper. It's like, we gave you that 70 billion. We need money now because we need to pump it into AI.
We got to cash out. Yeah.
That bubble's going to burst soon. 30% of they reckon 30% of code on Microsoft Windows 11 was AI generated. Every
I've got a separate video about how I'm running Linux on my main gaming PC now.
Just buy a Steam machine, right?
I've had a Steam Deck for a while, but I want a better graphics card than a Steam machine.
Well, yeah, that's true. I mean, therein lies the rub, right? Like, it's a modular PC that you can play your Steam library on. So I guess they realized, well, people are ready for it finally. I think the technology.
It's not that modular.
I think, well, as in, that's true.
It's
standard. That's a much more accurate phrase.
Yeah.
But I mean, realistically, we started the year kind of, SNK's, bought ESL. So if you want to do anything in esports, you got to deal with the Saudis, whether you like it or not. They bought SNK because SNK was a struggling company and was always looking for seed capital. We end the year with China now owns most of Ubisoft. We end the year.
Was that who? That's confirmed.
Tencent.
It was
came
Tencent
out the other day, I'm
did come
pretty sure.
in.
It was like
Wow.
$1.3 billion. No, I can't remember what the number was.
It was a big number.
But I'm pretty sure it was a recent thing. Maybe someone linked an old article, but I'm pretty sure I read it in the last couple of days. If I'm wrong, type it in the comments. I won't read it anyway.
Send that email right up your ass.
But the big one was Saudi. Like, Saud's bought Saudis, and Jared Kushner is now the head of EA, basically. So EA was a $50 billion deal. It was like one of the most over
like estimated
capitalized. No, it wasn't estimated. It was like they gave them so much more than the actual value, the sticker value of the company. Right. But they got to move their money elsewhere, and they realized that if anyone's going to maintain the Wahhabist Islamic conservative agenda, it's good old white bread Americans, right? So that's again, we don't talk politics.
We don't talk politics. We don't do that.
But no, and obviously we had the year in Australia of. It's been interesting in the gaming space. It's been tough to get money out of people for stuff for the arts. Still, it was not as bad as it was during the Abbott years, but it's not been great. And I think,
that's a little unfair. I mean, Victoria, Queensland, and South Australia have thrown around a lot more local money.
Yeah.
The other states aren't doing, to my understanding, worse than they were before. And Screen Australia have at least kept, if not slightly increased, how much they're funding.
I can't say too much on television because I upset people.
You upset people just across the board sometimes.
True.
Say something about Kotaku. Actually, don't do that.
Yeah, let me tell you about how Melbourne people are liars when it comes to press junkets, right? And if you're from Sydney, you can take that shot on Twitter. And
we're gonna leave it there.
It's coming.
Anyway, we're gonna talk about video games again. So Microsoft, Ubisoft, EA, EA, video game industry, cross late-stage capitalism. Nintendo launched the Nintendo Switch 2 this year.
Which, the main thing with the Nintendo Switch 2, don't buy one if you don't need to, like honestly, but everyone is. There's still like 26 million of them or something.
You don't need to yet, but like by the end of next year, you might as well.
I'm using it more than my Steam Deck because it's more powerful than my Steam Deck, and playing last generation, like there's a lot of indie games.
Updated games,
There's a lot of indie games from last generation I bought on Switch when I was cheap. And I couldn't play them, they just ran so awfully.
They ran like crap, yeah.
But now that it's got a little bit of chops to it, like I'm playing Power Wash 2 on it. Like I'm not playing, and it's free on Game Pass.
Yeah.
But I'm still playing on Power because I still want to play it in my hands, right? So Hades is on Switch as well. I've been playing that.
It's a little sad, I will say, that Switch 2 is nothing all that new, nothing all that exciting in comparison to the previous generation, in comparison to like every other console that Nintendo has launched.
Yeah.
Realistically, I think except the Super Nintendo maybe, every other console has been like, let's do something completely insane and kind of batshit, and a terrible investment financially most of the time. But like this time they were like, nah, keep your fucking head down.
Well, I think
let's release the same thing and just keep doing it better. And the thing is, the games do kind of speak for themselves. There aren't that many on Switch 2 right now.
No, there's
but
only
there
three
will be.
actual Switch Nintendo
it's like
games,
Donkey Kong, Air Riders, and
Mario Kart.
And Mario Kart. And like Mario Kart aside, whatever, it's a Mario Kart game. The other two games have been received well. People have, having a good time with them, playing plenty of games.
But it feels like the Switch 1 launch in that way, where like Zelda came out and Zelda Breath of the Wild was a big deal and all that.
Yeah.
But Zelda doesn't move units in the same way a Mario game moves units. Mario Kart will always move units.
Mario Kart does,
Mario Kart will always move units. Mario Kart,
Sakurai was this close to walking, and they were like, "We'll give you Kirby Air Riders too." He was like, "Done."
And he's made it difficult too. Everyone's complaining about the skill ceiling on it. Funnily enough,
he's insane. I love it.
Yeah, but no, I think the big one, the one that's coming, the coming storm that people haven't addressed, and it may have already been happened by the time. Everyone's buying RAM for AI, so all the RAM sticks in the world are going to AI projects. So all the fabrication's going to AI projects, which means that if you're a PC builder, good luck to you. Good luck getting graphics cards and RAM.
I bought a graphics card in the case today, and my credit card is really unhappy with me.
And then, so then going forward, like those companies, they're going to have to raise the price on a 5-year-old console. They're going to have to raise the price.
Well, they already have. Like,
they've gone up
Xbox
twice.
Series X and S, and then I'm pretty sure PS5 has. What was hilarious, kind of insane.
Yeah.
Bit of both. Switch 1, Switch Lite, also both got price hikes.
Yeah.
And when people were like, how can they justify doing that when like PS2 went down to like, what, $100 US, so let's say 150 Australian maybe, towards the end of that life cycle, down from what it would have been 250, 300 Australian maybe at the time. The reality is that they can, because there's enough demand out there and people are going to pay for it.
People are going to buy it, right?
Like Switch 2 being $700, people are still buying it enough that like there are plenty of notifications on OzBargain for when it comes down to 600, and they're not like snatched up immediately. I mean, they're snatched up quickly, but like plenty of people are still buying it at 700. People are buying PS5s, Series X's, not so much Series, at full retail price, just because they've got the money to burn. And I'm like, it's mad jarring, because we don't talk about politics in this show, that we have media speaking about a widespread cost of living crisis on this side, and retailers, manufacturers, IP holders jacking the hell out of their shit and getting paid royally for it.
So I'm gonna,
it's kind of insane.
And I'm gonna tell you why. Because we live in a world of brands now. Like I was in China and I was in Chengdu and Chongqing, and one of the things that really stood out to me was they had Evangelion, they had PlayStation 30th anniversary, and they had Honda Civic, like full race jumpsuits at this random Nick next door. I don't think the PlayStation 1, 2, or 3 were allowed in China. I think the 4 was allowed in, it was the first one that was actually allowed in. And the PS5 is still ridiculous. You can't, like, they're very expensive. But it shows you that the power of brands is so strong now that they'll even permeate the Chinese world. And so
they just slowed the rise of capitalism, I think you said.
Yeah, but I think the one thing that is going to see a resurgence, and hopefully, and this is why politically everything is pushing so hard to get the alphas back onto the social media teat, is because live experiences are starting to make a comeback.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? Like meeting people in person, going to live gigs, live events, blah, blah, blah.
Don't know what that's like.
And I'm
on
like,
this show?
and so obviously post-COVID, had the COVID gap as well, but it's like, I feel like that's going to be the next thing. So I feel like, the old days of the 3DS meetups in your local park are going to potentially be a thing, because you can do that now with the Switch. You couldn't do it on the Switch 1, you can do it on the Switch 2. You can do some games will have the ability to play multiplayer using one person
sharing.
Cartridge. So, and then, so I think that there's room for that. And I think we've talked a lot of doom and gloom, but I think there are things we'll get through. I think if you're an Australian, you're in a very lucky spot at the moment. As someone
Yes.
who's literally, I'd never been to Europe 5 months ago, and I've been to Germany 4 times now. Someone who's been to Europe and all these other places,
It's
when
a
they talk about
very different vibe.
we have the problem with
Yeah.
inflation, and we have the problem with this, and Japan's obviously got the problem with over tourism, and even they're starting to feel the inflation pop now, especially when they're not paying their people anymore. But in Australia, you're very lucky, and that's not to take that for granted. You should always push for better, but do not think for a second that we are going backwards in the way the media will tell you.
Oh,
we're going
no,
backwards, is all I will say.
Yeah, no, I hadn't gone to Europe until last year for Gamescom as well.
Yes.
And having spent a bit more time in Southeast Asia and East Asia myself now, it's like I've been saying for a long time that Melbourne is full of spoilt brats, but holy crap, Australia across the board. I mean, Queensland voted in the LNP again.
Chris
Like,
Foley, right?
we have
Yeah.
plenty of spoilt brats across the board. And it's not that I'm saying that like you should never whinge or bitch about things, because it does come to us naturally.
Yeah.
But like, we could have it so much
Yeah.
rougher
And
in
that's-
so many other places.
And that doesn't mean you stop going for. I mean, Paul Keating said the lucky country in spite of itself. I'm pretty sure that was Keating. And
He also said get a job.
that's true. Well, to fair, that was all Greens member, so that's just good advice. How is the job hunt going, Maxi? Pretty good. Anyway, that's my political. That's my one shot.
You can get cheaper seats at IKEA.
That's my.
That's
That's my
that was
shot
a
in.
Clive Palm ride. Anyway,
Yeah.
that is on kind of the games industry and gaming news of the year. What are some of your favorite games of 2025?
Power Wash came out, so Power Wash 2. It goes without saying.
Yeah, okay.
Like everyone's talking about the snubs thing. Like I haven't played Claire Obscure. It's not my kind of game, but I'm glad the Frenchies are doing it. It is interesting. Some of my hardcore JRPG mates are not on board with Claire Obscure as much as some of my other ones. So it's interesting to see where the lines are driven up.
Because it's a JRPG made by the French.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's very JRPG style. So a lot of
Okay.
that stuff, which is fine. I mean, it is what it is, and it's very French themed. Like there's
Maybe I'll look into it.
Yep. I mean,
I'm learning French for context.
I did tell you I learned how to say voulez-vous que je avec moi in German, didn't I?
Oh God.
It turns out it's voulez-vous que je, because they can't change it because
just
it's
the
so
same thing.
synonymous. Because I went to Moulin Rouge in Cologne.
would be cute.
But it was good. I'll tell you about that later.
Right.
But we had Monster Hunter Wilds, which came out to great fanfare. There was a Death Stranding 2 year. Hades came out. I've been playing a lot of Hades. Helldivers is, I wouldn't say it's gone from strength to strength. It's definitely had a tough couple of months, but it's still one of the highest
It's still doing
player
its thing.
counts in games.
Yeah.
I still recommend it to anyone. It was, I think, Black Friday, it was $28, $29, worth every penny at $29. And you can grind the special currency you need, like the Sony currency or whatever, the Steam currency.
Yeah.
You can grind it. If you know how to set it up correctly, you can grind it. So if you're willing to spend 10 hours of your life, you can basically buy every add-on pack,
All of the
whole
packs.
thing.
Yeah,
so,
cool.
So there's, and I love that game. It is just, it's a fun moment machine maker. I wasn't that interested in Donkey Kong, so I have no opinions
Sure.
on it. Everyone compared it to Donkey Kong 64, and I hated Donkey Kong 64. But I've never been a Banjo-Kazooie kid.
Did people? That's bizarre, because it seems at a top level kind of different.
I thought it was more an Odyssey. It looked more,
Yeah,
reminded me more
that's what I thought.
Yeah, so I feel like that was more the design aesthetic, but a lot of people say, oh, there's so much to do and all the different levels and all that. I'm like, pass. Like, I haven't got time. Yeah.
Look, I'm not saying that Power Wash 2 is not worthy of Game of the Year, but before Power Wash 2 came out, did you have one game of 2025 that really stuck out to you?
Look, I really did like Death Stranding 2. I liked it more than a lot of my cohort. I really liked Monster Hunter Wilds. That was the thing. I think it was a year of very good games. We had a lot of,
we had a lot of 9s, but not really
Death
a ton.
Death Stranding 2 didn't do the same thing to me that 1 did. And even though I got why it changed the things that it did, and obviously had little fun Australian moments and stuff like randomly run over just tackling an emu and stuff like that. Just
Comes naturally to you.
Just classic pastimes,
Yeah.
right? No, I think if it's one of those things of, if we weren't to talk about, I'll probably put the most into Hades, and I really have enjoyed Hades, and I think
Hades 2, that is.
Hades 2.
Yeah.
And I think compared to what they did compared to the first game,
Yep.
the way they tie it in, the way that all that goes, it would probably be, I would say, if not my pick, it would be one of my top 3. Death Stranding's got to be the other one. And if I'm not allowed to do Power Wash, which I think is a dumb rule, then it has to probably be Monster Hunter Wilds.
Monster Hunter Wilds?
I've technically this year I've finished, when I say finished, credit roll on only 17 games this year, 18 games.
That's a short, that's a
Last year was 36.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and keep in mind that is some indie game and stuff. I haven't had an Xbox controller. After PAX, my Xbox controller went into one of the tubs and ended up somewhere.
Yeah, right.
And so
You just haven't been able to
I mean,
play
I
your
play
Xbox.
Xbox. Yeah. So I went and found a Xbox One controller, which works.
Yeah.
But it's like, this sucks. Give me an Xbox Series controller, please. So I have to go find one. And, so that I'll be back on Xbox then. So I think I'll finish out the year pretty strong. But the big one at the moment is, how do I, if I'm going to South Africa for two and a bit weeks, how do I how do I play video games in South Africa? And I'm like, so I have to. So the Switch 2 will be good, but I'm like, do I smuggle a PS5 in there and just make myself more of a target? Because I don't know if you've seen the protests at the moment. Anyway,
Good luck with that. Look,
Yeah.
I think Monster Hunter Wilds. No, first game of the year, Monster Hunter
Probably
Wilds.
Hades.
No, Hades 2.
Yeah.
But really, Power Wash Simulator 2.
yeah, let's call it.
Let's be real.
Yeah.
Do you have, sure there has been some sort of doom and gloom aspect to this year. There have been some, gems. There have been some good games. There have been plenty of good events for what it's worth as well that I've had a great time at. TGX this year was great. I'm looking forward to it next year. I think looking to 2026, is there anything that you are hopeful for in the industry, or that you would like to manifest for the industry?
Look, I think more than anything, obviously we've been very busy, and I think next year, if this pace keeps up, it'll be nice to actually take a break. More than anything, I just think, again, nothing's really going to change while the US is in the state that it's in. Like let's call a spade a spade.
Sure.
While it continues doing what it's doing, those big venture nothing's going to get stopped. Warner Brothers is going to get sold to probably Netflix. All these companies are going to consolidate, and consolidation.
The AI bubble's going to burst.
The end game of capitalism is monopoly. So my hope is that when the AI bubble collapses, we'll embrace indies again. I would say that's probably the one shining hope at the moment. Is every time I'm like, fuck man, what do I want to play? Some indie game will come out and go, you know what, I'll do it. So I feel like there is still that hope. That creative spark ain't dead. AI hadn't killed it yet. And so I hope that continues on. And I still think, again, I will say one thing: movies and music have picked up their game this year. I found I went to the cinema a lot more than I have in years previous. So maybe the quality of gaming will raise all boats, but I'm worried that the more consolidation we have, the worse our creative impulses get. So look to your indies, look to your art houses, look to your live music venues, and when live music plays at the Fed Square, if you got there late, maybe just accept that you got there late. Anyway, it's going to make me very popular with the Melbourne crowd.
What was it? Eat the mayor?
Yeah.
Who was saying eat the Lord Mayor?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. That is a wrap, at least from Jason, on 2025. If you want to see more of New Game Plus, you can head to the website, newgameplus.tv. You can catch us on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, and Blue Sky, and maybe TikTok at New Game Plus TV.
I am going to start I am probably going to properly start using the Instagram. That's probably my New Year's resolution. That and I've got to read more books. Anyway.
And you got to log off more. You got to touch more grass.
I used to still go through 12 books a year, and I've been since COVID. That's just gone down.
Look, I mean, 36 games a year probably had something to do with that.
Yeah, I think also my backyard got overgrown during COVID, and I never really unclipped it. And I used to love sitting in the backyard and reading. So I'll have to. That's a call to action for myself for future me.
You can also find more of New Game Plus TV on tour on ctvplus.org.au, where we've got season 1, and depending on when you're watching this, all of season 2 or shortly season 2 coming up as well. Thank you very much for joining me, Jason.
No, it was good to see you as always. Good to be back in Melbourne.
Thanks for hanging out. Catch you next time.